Why, hello. I'm Kim Treffin. This is the free training to create your fourth quarter marketing strategy. So I'm going to take a minute and make sure that it looks like I'm live, like I should be inside the group here. It looks like we have some people hopping on. Welcome. This is creating your fourth quarter marketing strategy. So, okay, excellent. Looks like I am live in the group. Hopefully with no tech issues. We have a major storm going on here, so we're going to dive right in. If I do have tech issues, then you might see me finishing this out tomorrow. But we're going to go ahead and get started. The replay will stay up in the group under the Women Making Money series. So if you are joining the replay right now, you probably already know that, but I am intending for this training to stay up in the group. And just making sure it looks like it froze. Hi, Alegria, how are you? Good, good, good. Thank you for commenting. Now I know that it really is live because on my computer here, it's doing something wonky. So I'm not going to worry about that. This is creating your fourth quarter marketing strategy. If you are new to the group or new to my world, I am Kim Treffin. I am a business coach for female entrepreneurs, and I work with women across multiple industries, but all of my clients have one thing in common. That is that they are growing their business online. So when you think about your fourth quarter marketing strategy, this is a really interesting time of year because a couple of things happen with a lot of women. Women who haven't hit their financial goals for the year, often this is when they start to freak out, thinking they're not going to hit their goals. For a lot of people too, the end of year is one of the busiest times. Okay, looks like this is good now. The end of year can also be one of the busiest times personally, professionally, in business, if you have children, the holidays. There's just a lot going on at the end of the year, which can cause additional stress for people. So I have some notes to follow for today. If you want to I suggest you grab a pencil and a paper, and you can actually workshop this out while we're going through the training today. Okay, obviously you are more than welcome to finish it out afterwards, but because we have some people joining live, we can go ahead and workshop this together right now. So grab a pen and paper. First, I wanted to share with you one of my basic business philosophies is that your beliefs and your behaviors give you every single result in your life and business. Okay, what you think and what you do gives you all of your results everywhere in your life and business. So the problem that happens with creating a marketing strategy, a lot of times I see similar things happening to a lot of different women. So I wanted to break it down with you. One of the problems that happens is how you're talking to yourself about your marketing strategy. It's what you think about it. Some common things that I've heard from women are thinking things like, I don't know what to say, I can't keep up with it, I need to get X number of calls booked from this training or this post, I should do more videos, I should do more lives, there's so too much going on in social media, I don't stand out. My favorite is, but I didn't wash my hair today. You can actually go live even if you haven't washed your hair. I promise you, you can take selfies, you can go live. But those are a lot of the common stressors that women have shared with me. So if you're going to workshop this out today on the training, have pencil and paper in front of you. This is the mapping out, creating your fourth quarter marketing strategy. So first off, get really honest with yourself about what patterns you've seen in yourself. You can even look at these last 9 months of 2021 and really ask yourself, like, how proactive was I with my marketing strategy? Okay, all of these prompts that I give you, all these questions I give you, you can also catch this again on replay if you just want to listen today and then go back and do the work with the replay. All of these prompts, you have to be really honest with yourself because otherwise you're not going to get down to any of the real answers and everything is just going to stay the same in your business. So look back at the last 9 months. How proactive were you with your marketing strategy and how has that worked for you? Whether you've struggled to make money or maybe you have way more clients than you can really serve and you're like, oh my God, I have too many people reaching out. Or a third category that I found in my business at one point in time is I was getting on all these sales calls, but they weren't converting. And in that case, my marketing wasn't actually doing its job for me. Okay, you want your marketing to work for you. So think back on these last 9 months and really ask yourself, like, what's been going on with my marketing? What's been working? What hasn't been working? Have I had some of these problematic thoughts that a lot of women do of, well, I don't know what to say and I don't know how to plan it out and I'm not sure where I should show up and that, oh my God, I didn't wash my hair today, right? And then what have you been doing when you think about your marketing? Some of the common ones when women are kind of in that spiral of like, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to show up, I don't think it's good enough, or I'm not in the right places, or nobody wants to hear from me, or I'm afraid I'll annoy my audience. That's another really big one that I hear from women. Some of the things that I see happening, some of the behaviors, some of the actions that women are actually doing is getting caught in the endless scroll, right? Maybe you go out to Facebook or Instagram and you're going to post, or TikTok, wherever you're present, and instead you start scrolling and you see funny things. Maybe delete what you've created. I've talked to a lot of women recently that are like, oh, I did all this work and I created it and then I didn't post it, or I deleted it, or I decided it sounded stupid or silly. Okay, so if you're spending time creating and then you don't do anything with what you've created, classic procrastination or self-sabotage, right? Staring at a blank screen, not being sure what to post, only sporadically posting. Like maybe you have an intent to post, I don't know, every day or 3 times a week, whatever schedule works for you. Maybe you have a schedule in mind, and then it's really like 5 times in a row, and then you don't post for like a week, right? Like it's super sporadic. Maybe you feel behind, right? All of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't done that in a while. Maybe it's going live. I haven't gone live in a while. Oh my gosh, now it feels really stressful. Now I'm not sure what to say. Now it feels extra awkward. Why didn't I just keep up with it? The other thing that I see a lot of women doing is assigning responsibility for their business goals to their content. Let that one soak in for a minute. We're going to talk about this one a little bit deeper and what I mean by that. This is something that I fell victim to early in my business. I outsourced the responsibility for my business, for making money, for signing clients. I outsourced it to a whole bunch of things other than me, right? Oh, like my content should bring them in, or my content did bring them in. It can be outsourcing responsibility, and kind of same thing, opposite side of the coin. It can also be like, oh, well, I didn't really do that. XYZ did it for me, right? And whether you're thinking about, well, it's only because it's my coach. My coach got me these results. It's because I'm working with so-and-so, or my content got me these results, or my email list got me these results. Recognizing and understanding the power that you are in control, in charge of every single aspect of your business. And that comes with the good and the bad. And I only mean bad. Like I truly believe that every single thing we do in business, we either make money or we learn from it, period. Right? Every single thing we do, we should be evaluating. And if it wasn't profitable for us, then we need to learn something from it. And when you approach everything that you do in business with that mindset, everything changes. There's not this shame and doubt. The overthinking subsides of, oh, I don't know if I should do this or this. Do them both, right? Give it a whirl. See what works, see what doesn't work, but learn from everything. So when I say bad, right, there's good and there's bad, I really just mean there's profitable and not profitable, right? We hit our goals or we don't hit our goals. But when we assign responsibility, when we say, oh, I'm going to do this post on this day, and I want to get 3 sales calls booked from it. I see this a lot with coaches and consultants. And I want to get 3 sales calls booked from it. That's putting all that responsibility on that one piece of content to create a specific result. Now, trust me, if you're new to my world, my background was in corporate. I was head of marketing. In marketing, we love to like come up with stats and what's the rate of return on XYZ. But here's what I want to tell you. The difference between somebody working in a large corporation or a small company, but the difference of having a job in marketing, we often had to produce these analytics and these metrics around marketing because other people in the company, i.e. your bosses, needed to know that what you were working on was working. Here's the thing that I think is wildly different when you're a solopreneur. You know if it's working by looking at your financials. Like so easy. Are you making money or are you not making money? Look at your financials and look at the time that you have. Those are your 2 biggest indicator if things are working. Because if you're on like an extreme on the spectrum, let's say you're not making any money in your business, then your marketing strategies have not been working. Versus if you're profitable and you're making money, great. Now we want to amp up the things that are working. And it's the same with your time. Okay, if you are spending all of your time working, regardless if you're making no money or a shit ton of money. Sorry, maybe you have small children in the room, mine are at school. Regardless if you're making no money or you're making a ton of money, if you are working around the clock, that's a sign that things aren't really working the way they should be. Right? Because we want this really nice balance of working the hours that you want to work in your business and then actually having time and money to enjoy the things you want to enjoy. I personally do not assign any responsibility to any of my content any longer to, oh, I want XYZ to produce X number of sales calls. When you assign that responsibility, it's not only like outsourcing it to something outside of you, it puts a lot of pressure on you and that one piece of content to perform. And there are so many things that impact a content's performance, but even more important than that, you can have wildly great engagement on a post and be making $0. And you've probably heard a lot of people say, right? Like they're vanity metrics. Don't worry about vanity metrics. To give you a real life example, I talked to a woman this summer who has, I don't know, 20,000 followers on Instagram. She would have anywhere from like 800 to 2,000 likes on an Instagram post. But she was working around the freaking clock. And you know how much money she was making? $2,000 a month. That was it. Thousands of likes, hundreds of comments, and she was making $2,000 a month. So when you look at her marketing strategy, right, if all we did was look at metrics, like they do often in corporate, oh, sure, her marketing strategy is working great. She's getting thousands of likes and hundreds of comments, high engagement. But when you look at her financials and you see that she was only making $2,000 a month, I would beg to differ and say her marketing strategy was not working for her. She was really good at getting people excited about her content, but it didn't go anywhere after that. She wasn't getting the right people on sales calls. She wasn't closing the sales calls. She was undercharging, right? There was a whole bunch of things that go into it. The problem is that our brains like to look at engagement and think that it equals success. Oh, look at all the people liked this. The true measure of if your strategy is working for you is sitting right in your bank account and the amount of time that you have available to do all the wonderful things that you love. Okay, so again, one of the behaviors that I see when people have this mindset of like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to post, I don't know where to show up, I don't know what to say to my people. And they spend a lot of time doing things that aren't actually productive and moving their business forward. And it's definitely not helping their marketing strategy. Most of the women I talk to that are kind of living in that land of, we're just going to say it like, this sucks. Like I'm working all the time and I either don't have any time, like I'm working around the clock and I don't have time to spend with my family and do the things I love, or I'm working all the time and I'm freaking broke, right? Like that wouldn't be any fun either. So they usually feel stressed, constantly worried, and constantly feeling like they're behind, even though they're their own boss, right? Like, what are you behind with? We don't know, but you feel it's that like, oh, if I just do this one more thing, if I just get this one thing done, I'll just get this caught up on, I'll just work for a little bit on Saturday, I'll just work one more Sunday. That constant feeling of like the ocean is washing over you and you're starting to sink to the bottom and drown and you're just trying to tread water and keep up. Okay, that's the feeling that a lot of women have when they're living in that land. What we want is we want your marketing strategy and we want you to be actually moving your business forward. Okay, if we think of that analogy with like, oh shit, the tide just came in and like I'm drowning out here and I'm trying to tread water. We want you just swimming forward. Like, oh, there's the shore. I'm just going through. It's another day. It's another swim in the ocean. Life is good. So some of the things where some of the beliefs shift around your marketing strategy, I'm going to share some of my thoughts that I hold about my marketing. You can use these, adapt them, love them, reword them, come up with your own. But we want you shifting out of the negative when you think of your marketing strategy and into the positive. And this is really important for you to do before you sit down and create any content. So notice how you're feeling and what you're thinking when you sit down to do your content creation. Because if you're thinking like, oh my God, I just need one more client, I just need one more client, that's the energy that you write from. And people feel that online. People feel it everywhere, right? That's why like we're energetic beings. So here are some of the thoughts that I have found helpful or some of my clients have found really helpful. It's knowing and believing that what I say is exactly what my clients need to hear. Right? Exactly. Like you can't say it wrong to your best people, even if you have typos in your post. It happens. Okay, so what I say is exactly what my clients need to hear. This will help one person today. When we stop writing to try to get those vanity metrics and we start writing or creating to help one person today, there can be a tremendous shift that happens inside of your content, and the expectation that you've put on your content to perform, that expectation is removed too. It's like, oh, right, this doesn't have to feel like pressure. I'm just here to help one person today. With full belief that the clients are coming and every single piece of content that you create is just being put out to help people, right? There's not the pressure of this content has to create this result. It's just, I create all this content and these are the results I create in my business. It's a really big shift. It can be a really powerful shift. I love the thought this gets to be easy. Creating content is doing nothing more than sharing your thoughts. That's it. Like it's not like a magic formula. Use these words and you'll get that. Like it is literally just sharing your thoughts. So this gets to be easy. I show up in my way. And I underline the word my. If you love videos, do videos. If you love Instagram Reels or TikTok, do Instagram Reels or TikTok. If you love to host webinars, host a webinar, right? You get to choose. Sometimes people get really hung up with like, but right, with the algorithm. And yes, there is a hierarchy to content in the algorithm. Facebook, for example, will often prioritize live video over recorded video. They'll prioritize any video over written content. But there are still people making hundreds of thousands of dollars that don't go live, right? There's so many different ways. And instead of thinking to yourself, oh, I have to crack the code, I have to figure out what that right piece of content is, the right way to word it, the right platform, the right video or the right webinar. Instead of thinking that there's one right way, I challenge you to think like, actually, all of these options work. All of them can be successful. Every single option available to you to deliver your content in has been successful for somebody. You just get to choose the way that works best for you, that works for your audience, the way or ways, right? I do a couple. I do live videos, I do Instagram Reels and TikToks, and I do a lot of written content too. I use stories. Like that's just what's easy for me to create. And when you think this gets to be easy, and you know that whatever you say is exactly what your ideal clients need to hear, then you just get to show up in the way that feels good to you. So thought, I show up in my way, right? And this is true for you too. The other thought that I think is really important, and I kind of started to talk about this a minute ago, but it's the belief that my clients are coming. Again, it's not hinging like, oh, I'm going to do this training and this one training is going to get me XYZ clients. But it's just knowing your opportunity to add value to the world is always present, and you get to choose whatever ways feel good to you and hold the belief that your clients are coming. They may or may not see that one training, right? I had somebody reach out to me recently that on my application for a consult, she wrote that she found me on a podcast. Do you ladies want to know the last time I did a podcast interview? As far as I can recall, it was a solid 12 months ago. Your content continues to work for you, which also removes the pressure of, oh my gosh, I have to show up on there every single day. Oh no, I'm sick and I can't show up when I'm sick, right? And I agree, like rest when you're sick. Sometimes life happens. My boys, I think I'm up to 13 doctor's appointments in the last 6 weeks for my boys. Like it's been ridiculous over here with a broken pinky, a fractured ankle, 2 COVID tests. Like it's been crazy. Right? And there's no pressure that you have to show up in your business and you have to create content every single day when you truly believe all the content I put out there is value that just keeps working for me, right? That thing you did a year ago still lives online. People can still find it and it can still work for you. So holding this belief that my clients are coming, regardless of what content I choose to put out there, can be a real game changer for a lot of entrepreneurs. And again, it's that idea of just think of like any pressure that you have felt this year, any pressure to hit your goals, pressure to create content, pressure to show up in a certain way. We're just like removing all of that pressure off of us. And business gets to feel really fun and light and exciting. And you just get to do the things that you enjoy, say the things that you want to say, and know that those clients are coming in. If it doesn't bring in a call today, it'll bring in a client, a consult next week, next month, next year. Like, however long you've been in business. So you've been in business for 4 years. You have 4 years of history working for you right now online. That's really fun to think about. So what's different when you hold these beliefs that clients are coming, you can show up any way that feels good to you, you can use the platforms that feel good to you. Some of the things that I see happen with my clients, creating content becomes less stressful, a lot less stressful. Some people start to pre-plan their content. That doesn't work for everybody, but you get to choose the system that works for you. But a lot of people feel like, oh my gosh, like I got super creative and inspired and all this content just like flowed out of me. Awesome. Then you can just schedule it out, right? Let it be easy. They do not assign that expectation that each post or each thing they do is going to create a specific result. They might choose to use a posting schedule or like a specific schedule of repurposing content. Like if I shared on Instagram this week, I'm going to share it on Facebook next week. Or they might say, hey, every time I share something, it's just going out to all my audiences on the same day. Because again, you get to choose what feels easy for you. And how they normally feel when they're living in the other land, right? We're no longer in the land of stressed and feeling constantly behind, like we're trying to tread water in the ocean. Instead, when they're over in the other, they made it to the island, right? Now they're on the island where like life is good, life is easy, or sitting on the beach with a Mai Tai or a pina colada. That's how they feel inside their business. Like, this is awesome. I just get to share my voice and I let the content flow out of me and I schedule it and clients come. Okay, so this is really important. The first thing that I want you to do when you workshop this, if you're doing it right now, great, is again, ask yourself, like, really what has gone on with my marketing strategy these last 9 months? So in 2021, what has gone on with my marketing strategy? Seeing like the problem that women face, the negative thoughts and how they show up in your marketing strategy versus the positive thoughts and how that can show up in your marketing strategy. I want you to be really honest with yourself and just write down like what has been your mindset around creating your marketing strategy and how has it affected the results that you're currently getting in your business. Okay, that's a really important one for you to take a look at. What we're going to move on to next, so make a note for yourself on that, or again, this replay will stay up. You can come back and watch the replay. Because once you see what's been going on in your business, that's really what that first part is for, is to see like what's been happening. And now you have that information I just went over with you. Now we're going to talk about going forward and creating your marketing strategy for this last quarter of the year. Okay, so we're going to shift gears a little bit, but it's so important to know what's been going on so that you see how it's been showing up in your business and what results it's been giving you. First thing to creating your marketing strategy for the last quarter of the year is I want you to think about what your goal is for this last quarter. Okay, how many clients do you want to get? Are you taking time off over the holidays? Think about that too, because if you're going to create a posting schedule for yourself, then it's important to think about when you're taking time off. Do you want content going out then? Do you want to pre-record it, pre-write it, pre-schedule it? Are you just not going to have content going out then? That's an option, right? Because when you get to do what feels good to you, I'm really proud to say this is the first calendar year that I've been full-time in business, and I am giving myself a luxurious 2 weeks off over Christmas. I've never had that in my adult life. Never, because I couldn't do that in corporate, right? But this is the first year that I've been full-time entrepreneur and not working in corporate. And I decided long ago, I'm taking 2 weeks off at Christmas because when my kids are off school, I actually don't want to be stressed. And I want to enjoy that full 2-week period. So make those decisions now. It doesn't have to be something like last minute or something that feels haphazard or stressful. Really think about, that's one of the beauties and the power of being an entrepreneur, is that you get to design your schedule in your life. So make sure you're choosing how you really want that to be and what you really want that to look like. Okay, so what is your goal for the year end? How many clients do you want to sign? How many new clients? And how much, like when are the times you're taking off? Okay, so set that goal for yourself. Then, once you know what your goal is, right, you can adapt those powerful thoughts that we talked about in the beginning. If you're just hopping on now, you'll want to catch the replay for the beginning of the call. Then we're going to talk about, so you have your goal set for the fourth quarter. Oh, I didn't write this down, but I want to mention this to you guys. One of the biggest mistakes that I see women make is they think the end of the year is like, well, I'm not going to hit my goals now. It's too late. I'm behind schedule. I'm off track. I hear that from a lot of entrepreneurs. that haven't made like whatever your annual goal was, your annual income goal, they haven't made 3/4 of that right now. And then it's like they mentally throw in the towel. Like, well, now it's not going to happen. I want to share with all of you that last year, I made half of my income in the last 3 months of the year. Okay, half my income for the whole year was in the last 3 months of the year. Absolutely anything is possible. Anything. I love my mentor, Serena, openly shares that last year, January through November, she had made like $80,000 total. I think I have that number right. Like $80,000 total, January through November. And then in December, she made $110,000. Literally anything is possible. But the worst thing that you can do is throw in the towel now and tell yourself that you're not going to hit your goals. Okay, so don't go small on this. Go all in on what you wanted to create this year. And if you need to, revisit your January notes. What was the actual income goal you had set for January? And if you've already blown past that goal, amazing. You still get to set whatever goal you want for the fourth quarter. Okay, so anything can happen in the fourth quarter. Set that goal. And then I want you to think about when you create your marketing, I want you to really focus on what your brand messaging is. And what I mean by your brand messaging, obviously, you know what you sell, right? I'm a business coach for female entrepreneurs. I love that. I help women grow wildly successful businesses that they love, okay? Because I am truly passionate. So this is all part of my brand messaging, right? That's like my tagline on my emails is I help women grow wildly successful businesses they love. And for me, my brand messaging, a big part of it is that we don't have to sacrifice our sanity in order to make more money. We get to actually have the time and money so that the money is there so that we can afford to do the things that we love. And the time and space is in our days so that we can do the things that we love, right? So that's all part of my brand messaging. I want you to think about what your brand messaging is. What do you stand for in your business? What things are important to you? What do you want all your clients to know? And something that's super, super relevant and important that I've seen a lot of women not do over the years is it's using your real voice. And there's kind of two components to that. Number one, you don't want to think you have to, like, I came from corporate and a super technical background. I worked at an actuarial firm. So when we wrote blogs, for example, it had to be very technical sounding because that's the industry that we were in. But as a business coach running my own business, that's not how I talk. So it would be weird if all of my content sounded super technical and then somebody got on the phone with me and they see me talking with my hands and I'm saying things like super technical, right? So I'm going to write the way that I speak. It gives this really cohesive flow to your content. And people read it in your voice. The more that they hear you and see you, the more that they get to know you as an entrepreneur, they read it in your voice. So on one hand, I mean, like, technically, use your real voice when you're creating your content, right? It makes everything easier. It also simplifies this need to, like, oh, I need to edit it and correct it, and right? No, like, this is you. The other thing that I mean by using your real voice is actually sharing your thoughts. Okay, this sounds like such a basic thing when you're creating marketing, but the reality is a lot of women are scared to say a lot of things online. They're afraid people might not like it. They're afraid that people might not agree with them, right? That's a big one, right? But what if I say XYZ? Or something that I see with newer entrepreneurs that I experienced this myself at one point in time is that, like, you've learned from mentors and it's almost like you've heard them saying their words for so long that it starts to become ingrained with you, and it's like their voice and their thoughts and their ideas are what start flowing out of you instead of your true ideas and thoughts and voice. And we want to get away from that, like, mimicking what our mentors have said. And we want to really step into creating your original thought leadership. And when you create your own original ideas, right, it doesn't mean that you haven't learned from other mentors. But when you create your own thought leadership, that's when you really set yourself apart online. There's usually something holding women back. So the way that I like to say it is, like, running an uncensored business is completely freeing. When you no longer worry if somebody's going to disagree with you, right? There could be somebody that disagrees with what I say right now, and that's okay. That just means I'm not the person to work with them and they're not my ideal client. Saying what's really on your mind, teaching the things that you really want to teach, saying the things that you really want to say, that's how people get to know who you are. And your marketing serves as a signal. I almost said single. Your marketing serves as a signal to attract the people that want to hear from you, that love what you're saying, that want to hear more from you. And it should repel the people that don't. Because the last thing that we want to do is have your content be so freaking vanilla that nobody even reads it. It sounds like every other guru out there, right? That doesn't do anything to grow your business, and it certainly doesn't do anything to attract those best clients to you. Also, sharing your real voice can be super scary, and that's okay too. That does not mean that anything has gone wrong. I shared a post this week that made my stomach clench up before I shared it. And you may or may not have seen it, but it was a post where I gave a bunch of statistics. The fact that I'm not looking at it right now, so I'm going from memory, but I believe it was either 2.3 or 2.8% of venture capital funding is all that goes to female-owned businesses. Less than 3% of venture capital funding in America goes to female-owned businesses. On top of that, only 12% of female-owned businesses ever hit 100K. Yet over 14% of women in the US, I don't know about around the world, but this was in the US, it was 14.8 maybe, over 14% of women will be raped. That means a woman in America is 7 times more likely to be raped than she is to get venture capital funding. Putting those stats out there was terrifying to me this week. Okay, so I don't want you to tell yourself either like, oh, it's just scary now because I'm new. No, trust me. When you're stepping into thought leadership, when you're saying things that other people are not saying, it's always going to be scary, but that doesn't mean that you don't do it. And again, it's going to serve as a signal. I can tell you, I may have lost followers over that post. I don't know. I don't care. The other thing I can tell you is I had multiple women DM me thanking me for sharing that, shocked and horrified at the stats. I had a woman comment on a post that like I've never even seen before, and she commented on it. I also had people share the post, share the stats. That's when you know your messaging resonates with people, even if it's scary for you to share. So I just wanted to put that plug in there too, that none of this means you're going to be like, oh my God, and now I'm like Confidence Kathy over here because I'm sharing my real voice. No, I will be honest with you, sharing your real voice, your real thoughts, maybe they even conflict with what you've learned from your mentors. There can be a lot of mind drama around that, but sharing your real voice, your real thoughts is one of the most vulnerable things that you can do in your business. But I promise you, that is what repels the people that aren't the right fit for you and will attract the people that truly want to work with you. So think about this, your brand messaging. And I might actually even do a private Zoom training on brand messaging next month or so. So watch for that. If this is something that you want to workshop together and really develop, craft, and create what your brand messaging is. But that is step 2. So step 1, remember, is to set your goal for Q4. Step 2, I want you to write down very clearly what are the things that you believe in? What are the things that you would want your clients to know? And what sounds like you? Is there anything that you have wanted to say and share that you haven't? Okay, just jot down that note for yourself. Because then in step 3 is when you're actually going to create your content. And the steps that I wrote out are like creating the Q4 content. But remember, we have that like pre-work step of what's gone on this past year, what's gone on these past 9 months. Or you could even say like, the hell's been going on the whole time in business? Like, what have I been doing? Right? You might know like, oh yeah, this is my pattern. There's always that pre-work because now we're in step 3, right? We're going to set goals. We're going to know our brand voice. And then step 3 is we're actually going to create the content for the 4th quarter. And before you sit down and create that content, I want you to know so deeply and intimately exactly what your brand voice is. Anything that you've held back on sharing, anything that you would love to say, but you haven't, things that you want your ideal clients to know, things that you know they're suffering with, whether you have before or other clients have, think maybe results that your current clients have gotten. So many women don't share the results that their clients are getting. So we're actually going to pause right now and do a special celebration of my client, Robin. I'm doing a special shout out to her because she just signed another pay in full client. So fun. So fun. So now step 3, you're going to map out this content. Remember, this gets to be easy. However I say it is how my people need to hear it. You know the platforms that you're on. You know what way you love creating content best. So what I suggest you do then is take a look at your brand messaging, right? Anything that you've been afraid to say that you're like, oh, right, like that is for sure something like Kim was talking about. Like people aren't sharing that. People aren't talking about it. That needs to go on your list of content that you're creating in the fourth quarter. Now, there's different ways that you can sit down and create the content. And I'll be perfectly honest, I'm like this with batch creating. I'll batch create a whole bunch and it gets scheduled out, and then I'll like batch for just 1 week, right? So I'm a little bit sporadic with that, but I show up consistently. So I'm not going to make it a problem in my mind if it's not a problem in my business. But what I love to do, I love to come up with some core topics that I'm going to talk about. So I counted for you guys. You don't have to count. After this week, because today we're already at Thursday, there are 11 weeks left in the year. Just 11. So if you have 11 topics that you can talk about to your people, that gets you a topic for every week for the rest of the year. That is your fourth quarter. That's all we have left, 11 weeks. So it might look like, make a list of the platforms that you show up on. Right? If you're on Instagram and you freaking hate being on Instagram, nix it. You're not showing up there for the fourth quarter. We are only showing up in the spaces and places that we love and adore. Okay? That's a rule for everybody. You are only showing up in the spaces and places you love and adore. That goes for your social media content and holiday gatherings. Just tell people Kim Trathen said so. Okay? Come up with 11 topics for yourself. You can include testimonials. You can include a story about a client win. You can include a struggle that somebody shared on a sales call. You can include an experience that you've gone through before in your business. You can share and uncensor your own voice and share all those things that you haven't already said. You can do a behind the scenes in your business, right? You can host a big training. You can host a small training. You can do this in whatever way is best for you and your business. But the number one thing is you're going to get yourself in the right headspace first, and you're going to cover all those powerful thoughts. You're going to read your brand messaging, and then you're going to come up with 11 topics that you can talk about once a week for the rest of the year. So I'll share with you guys what I decided to do. I think I have it here. So I took a look at the 11 weeks remaining in the year, and I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to do 7 trainings over the next 11 weeks. Or maybe I said 6. Oh, I think the 7th one counted today. Okay, so I'm going to do 6 trainings over the next 11 weeks. I think one might be in Zoom. I think I might do the developing your brand messaging in Zoom because that can be a more private conversation and interaction for people that want to get like really deep into their business. But a lot of them you'll see here live in the group. So I mapped out those topics, and then I've done this type of work for years. So it's really easy for me that if I'm doing a live stream that week, well, obviously I'll send an email to my list. I'll do the live stream in the group. I'll send out a reminder email before we go live, and I can create Instagram and story content all centered around that one topic for the training that I'm giving. But you get to choose what this looks like in your business. Let's say you hate video, but you love your email list. Great, come up with 11 topics and just schedule out 11 emails for your list for the rest of the year. That's it, and you can be done. Right? People that think you need constant content going out don't understand the power and value in writing a really substantial piece that continues working for you. Or let's say you love your email list and you're also on, I'll say Facebook, because that's where we are right now. Great, then write those 11 pillar pieces, those 11 emails to your list. And then you can pull, if you write a longer email, let's say, then you can pull snippets of content from it to put on your social media. It's so simple. It gets to be so easy. Creating content for the remaining fourth quarter, which we now know is just 11 weeks after today, does not have to be a big feat, does not have to be stressful, does not have to be super time consuming. You could batch create. I'm just going to go with the email example. I love writing for my email list. I often write my content for my email list, and then I do create my social media content from there. That's just something that has worked well for me. So I love writing like really beefy emails to my email list and give them all this content and all this information that is really going to help them grow as a person, as an entrepreneur, and help grow their business. So let's say that's you. You could decide, you know what, I'm going to write 2 emails today, and I'm going to write 2 next week, and then I'm going to do 2, right? You can sparse it out, or you could sit down if you have all the ideas and just write it all. And maybe you give yourself a 3-hour block and you have all your content done for the next 11 weeks. The beauty and the power is that you get to decide which method is going to work best for you to create the 11 weeks of content, knowing that there's no right or wrong answer the way that you do it, but choose the way that's going to work best for you. If you find yourself procrastinating on it, that is time to stop and ask yourself why. Our brains often want to offer up. That's difficult to say. Our brains often want to offer up, I don't know, but you do know, right? There's always a reason why. And telling yourself that I don't know is just a form of procrastination. It keeps you stuck in the like, oh, I don't know, I'm kind of confused. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to share, right? No, you always know. You have the answers right inside your brain. It's just a matter of getting it down on paper and taking the action. So if you find yourself procrastinating with this, that's time to just pause and be like, okay, why am I not getting this done? This is easy. This doesn't have to be hard. This doesn't have to be super time consuming. Everything that I say is exactly what my people need to hear. I'm definitely not going to hit my goals if I never talk to anybody. And online social media marketing is how you're talking to people online. Okay? I'm so excited for you ladies. So I would love to hear any takeaways that you've had from this training. You can go ahead and share them below. Oh, good. We are right on schedule. I booked 45 minutes for this. We are right on point. And to let you ladies know too, I have just a few spots remaining open for the rest of this year for private one-to-one coaching. If that is something that you've been interested in, you can click out to my website, read more there, kimthebusinesscoach.com. You can send me a DM. We always start with a private one-to-one consult because I would want to hear more about your business and your goals, and gives us a chance to meet and make sure that we're a good fit and make sure that your goals are something that I see as being able to really help you with. It's probably the most important part. So if you're interested in that and you would like to talk about coaching, DM me or go to my website, kimthebusinesscoach.com, and have so much amazing, glorious, fabulous fun creating your 4th quarter marketing strategy. Bye, ladies.